welcome back. A few more matches to go here in bracket number 3 for day 2 of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. And I am joined on the desk. We have Tasteless, we have Pig, we have Rotterdam, and we don't really have many more matches to go here in bracket 3. We have one that Pig is currently in, which is Bunny versus Kelazar, but I think it's only just got started, right?
Yeah, we've just kicked off just the opening build orders. Nothing too crazy happening right now. We'll hop back in here, hopefully after a game or two, and we'll give some updates.
That's right. So now we can talk about really Dayshi versus Snute, and watching how Dayshi, Tasteless, was just able to progress through that last series, you've got to give him a little bit of a chance. Normally you'd come in and say Snute's the huge favorite, but that was impressive by
Dayshi's definitely on a little bit of a roll. Will this be enough to beat Snute? I personally don't think so. Snute's had a bumpy last year. He's been off and on a little bit. You know, he's an emotional player. He cares a lot. But sometimes I think that can impact him in a negative way.
Okay.
If I had to make a guess here, I would still think Snute should come out on top, though, in this series.
I mean, he took 2 second places in the WCS circuit last year around, so as much as... The funny thing is that we see that from someone like Snute, and we're still like, well, when's the flame being rekindled? Because we expect him to be taking first places in some of these tournaments.
Yeah, like he did in 2016, right? When he won a big tournament in China, and then he also won the WCS Copa in Mexico. So, you know, obviously 2017, he didn't raise the trophy, but he still had a solid year in the end. He collected a lot of WCS points. Dayshi, on the other hand, he really has been a little bit inactive in a way, even though he still played in some online tournaments. But then suddenly he was on a massive Overwatch run, and he played non-stop Overwatch for a couple weeks. Then he comes back to Starcraft again a little bit, and he says Terran is weak, and then he leaves again. I mean, it kind of shows as well, doing a little bit of history. Dayshi used to be an absolute top-tier European Terran, and the way he played today obviously still is. But he's been a little invisible in this scene, because the last time that Dayshi played against Snute is in 2016. Now, Snute plays a lot, so that means that if you play a lot as well, you're bound to run into him, right? The fact that they haven't played against each other in almost 2 years kind of tells the tale about Snute's activity and Dayshi's inactivity. And to make it perhaps even funnier, the last time that Dayshi was able to beat Snute in a competitive game, we have to go back to August 2013. So it's been a long time.
That definitely is a long time ago. And Pig, when you look at kind of Snute compared to, say, Namsha, for example, they're not dissimilar in play style, but I think we always consider Snute to have the more rounded and premium super late game play, so Dayshi's got to be careful.
I like what you said, premium. I mean, I often think of Namsha as kind of like a younger kind of, I want to be Snute.
Okay.
He's kind of, he plays very similar to Snute, but we do think of him as a lesser Snute because he just hasn't been around the scene as many years. He hasn't won the championships that Snute has won. So, you know, it is tough for him to, you overcome Namsha. That's good. It's the stepping stone, but Snute's like the final boss here. He's going to be a much harder battle for Dayshi.
Yeah, definitely. So looking at the 5 players here, it's going to be interesting to figure out who is going to advance. Let's head over to the commentary team as we get things going as Snute goes up against Dayshi.
G'day guys, welcome back. We've got ourselves a cracker of a series, Artosis.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to hear all those opinions, those wrong opinions at the desk, because Dayshi is going to be able to take down Snute here. I mean, that play against Namshar, amazing. I was just talking to Todd. Apparently, Dayshi is beating basically all of the top European Zergs. Like, really only Serral is taking him out. He feels completely confident in his mech play against Zerg. And even though Snute is a great late-game macro player, if that's the way that Dayshi's feeling, because this guy, he doesn't exude confidence normally. Like, even though he's a very talented player, very good player, if he's saying he's able to win after taking out Namshar like that, one of the most underrated players in the European scene, in my opinion, I think he's got it, man. I think he's going to be able to take down Snute.
And that's the thing. Namshar is underrated by the community at large. He is absolutely worth a lot more praise than what he gets right now. And Namshar looks better and better. He went all the way to Game 5 against Special in WCS, which is absolutely incredible. But in the end, Dayshi giving him a 2-0. Now, that speaks volumes.
It does.
At the caliber of Dayshi's late-game TVZ mech play. We saw it. We saw the tail end of it, at least. I saw Game 1 on my laptop on the desk. And he looked like there actually wasn't a moment where Namshar was ahead at any point. Dayshi's run by his late game is just too good. But let's introduce our first player in the top right. From Team Liquid, the Norwegian Zerg. This is Snute.
One of the greatest foreigners of all time.
Definitely. Ooh, bit of a shaky start for this guy.
Whoa.
And the bottom left from Armor Team, the French Terran. This is Dayshi.
And, you know, as Roddy was saying, Dayshi is not, like, always super active or anything, which makes me kind of sad because whenever he is quite active, he becomes one of the top non-Korean Terrans pretty quickly. He's also kind of, like, got a big personality as well. I really enjoyed when he was one of the guys that was always at the events because he just, like, I don't know, he's got some flair to him, you know what I mean?
Yeah, very outspoken, fun to talk to, like, you know, he's funny. And yeah, it's cool to see him back. Honestly, you know, Dayshi's not been on the minds of the community for a very long time, but certainly he's been turning heads here in Katowice. Roddy said that he's trying to break a, you know, yes, they haven't met since 2016, but he hasn't beaten Snute since 2013. And that is a hell of a streak to overcome if that is indeed.
I look at it the other way. He's due.
It's due.
You can't keep that up forever.
Well, that's what I felt.
It's like that saying, right? Like, when Dark lost to a non-Korean, it's like nobody goes 27-0 against foreigners and lives to tell the tale. That was like the greatest.
We'll get you back.
I think Wax said that. That was so
that was one of Wax's greatest tweets of all time. We have a fast expand build here from Dayshi. Pretty regular play from both players, of course. Snute does actually enjoy, you know, just getting the gas for speed. Doesn't really rely on Overlord speed too much, but likes to get Zergling speed and then just pull the drones out of gas, get that mineral income, and get tons of Queens, drones, and hatcheries out. He's very, very solid with that heavy Queen defense.
Yeah, that is something he's very well known for, and his creep spread is truly second to none. I mean, it's wild to watch Snute spread his creep. You know, I think that this is going to be a magnificent series. I would say there is a 100% chance that Dayshi will be going for mech play unless he does some sort of all-in, you know, proxy rack, something like that.
Yeah, possible.
But I don't think we'll even see that if he's this confident in his mech play. And we saw that last game, like, Namshar kills like 15 tanks and then there's 15 more. And it's like, how many?
That's right.
How many tech lab factories do you have, Dayshi? What is going on here?
As we can see, like zero gassy for Snute, so he's just going all on mineral income right now. Trying to delay the CC, and so far doing a very good job of it. May get this SCV as well. No, the Reaper comes back. Will keep that SCV alive by shepherding it a little bit, but pulls him back to this side of the map, giving Snute a bit of breathing room. And Dayshi dropped an engineering bay, left it almost completely built there so we can cancel it later, but that is the comfortable third for Zerg. Zerg doesn't want to expand in a triangle for a third base. That is an easily pushed location for Terran generally.
Yeah, that's some wisdom you're giving us there about the
You're
triangle.
welcome. You're welcome.
I've never heard it worded like that, but I like it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, generally the maps are sort of like laid out that way. A lot of the maps in this ladder bat pool where you can, you know, expand in a triangle pattern or in a straight line, and Zerg definitely want to be along the edge of the map away from the Terran player.
Yeah, no question about that. You don't want to go closer. You don't want them pushing down a hill into your base.
No, definitely.
Pretty hard to hold on to. Some decent scouting going on here with the Reaper.
Reaper's still alive, getting information, and everything's pretty regular in Snute Town. He's not hiding any tech, no fast Ro4 or anything like that, which is what Dayshi's really looking out for. He's not generally going to get damage done with the first getting Reaper, which is killed, by the way, so that's a nice pick off there for Snute. And Dayshi is... he's made one engineering bay. Oh, sorry, that's the blocking one there, so he hasn't cancelled that just yet. So, you know, very likely going to be mech play from Dayshi. He's been doing it so well. He got Viking first going into Banshee now, so the Viking's going to start picking away at these Overlords and denying some vision here for Snute, and also, you know, if he's really lucky, supply blocking him, but this is Snute we're talking about. I very much doubt it.
Yeah, if it is a supply block, it won't be for very long, just moments. But look, there's still continued Hellion production. There is a Ro4 on the way, so that's pretty Snutish. You know, Snutish, actually. That is a word, isn't it?
Let's just say that it is.
Yeah.
Let's just say that it is. Well, I like what you mean. Like, the Snute style in ZVT is he still flies the flag for Roach Ravager. Most Zergs want to go Lingbane Hydra. They feel like that's just better all around. But Snute still thinks that Roaches are, you know, definitely viable, and they certainly can be.
He's certainly not interested in losing to things like Hellions or Hellbats, and Roaches are a very good way to make sure that you do not lose to those. And with 5 Roaches on the way, some additional Lings, and of course the big amount of Queens that he always has, should be able to hold off all of this harassment, even if he goes into Hellbat play, which looks likely with this armory starting up.
Yeah, Hellbat play with Banshees to help him out, of course, as well, that do have Cloak now. These Hellions getting really, really low, and one of them nearly dies to that Queen. See this Banshee coming around the outside, maybe going to go straight for the drone line. Snute sees that with the Overlord as the Viking starts to work on killing it here. These Hellbats, or Hellions rather, are quite softened up. So these Roaches should be able to deal with this if he just waits for him to come on creep a little bit deeper here.
Attacking up that hill, pushing them back for the time being. Cloaked Banshee flying around. Another Overlord getting picked off, being very on top of things with this Viking. Of course, the double Evos are upgrading, as well as that single armory, but Dayshi continuing to add on his infrastructure. Hasn't landed that third command center yet. Got to be a little bit careful about when he puts that down.
Banshee's putting in work here for Dayshi, and it's microing around the Spore Crawler here. And the Banshee does live, gets 4 drones to tell the tale. And that supply block we were worried about actually did happen for Snute there. So it was a while he couldn't make units, but he is catching some of Dayshi's units out here at the front of his natural.
All right, this little counterattack coming up, and is he ready? Yeah, with the Banshee coming back, it seems like Snute won't be able to get too much done here. Leaves a couple roaches there to have to deal with while running everything else away.
Well, that's why you got to make the Banshee with this, right? Like, if you don't have the Banshee, then roaches just kill you. Hellions and Hell, even if they're in Hellbat mode, are not great against a huge number of roaches.
Quite right about that. Now, layer about halfway done, as well as those upgrades. Some siege tanks being created. Definitely going to need a few of those to really make sure he can secure that third base. The Banshees alone flying there are not really what you want. You want to send those back out on the map, see if you can get some more harassment done. Meanwhile, Snute taking a 4th base. What do you think about this as the 4th base, based upon where he had to take his 3rd?
I mean, I don't know. It kind of seems all right because, especially considering there's so many active creep tumors up there as well. We just saw some active creep tumors down here, but here's the rest of them. These are where the Queens are paying attention.
Yeah.
He wants a big creep highway down here on this 4th base, and if he has that, then I don't mind it. But especially if he knocks down these rocks, then he can get a flank on a tank position.
Let me tell you, the more you say that, the more I think about this. I really like the fact that this is going to be his 4th, because why don't you really like your 3rd base to be that kind of triangle spot, right? It's because you don't want your opponent to be able to push down, push downhill. There's multiple ramps if you open up those rocks and everything. But if you are really focusing up there on your creep spread and everything, they can't attack your 3rd, right? So that I think that's quite a nice spot for him to expand to, and it kind of shows the flexibility and intelligence of Snute.
Dayshi just making sure that Snute's not trying to sneak his extra hatchery on him here, that he's keeping him honest at 4 bases. Lovely catch here with a flank from Snute, getting rid of all these Hellions. There goes the harassment potential and map control for Dayshi.
That was like a perfect Zergling group sitting there waiting. He knew something like that was likely to occur. And now with these roaches pushing across the map, well, with the Banshees, they have to turn tail and run.
It looks so funny because there's so many of them and there's only 2 Banshees, but it is true. Like, the Banshees will eventually deal with them. Snute hasn't morphed any Ravages just yet. It looks like his anti-air is just going to be the Hydras, and he is gunning for a Spire as well. So the Spire could be for fast Broodlords, which is certainly something that Snute's been a staple of many of his tournament victories against Terran. Hydras do tend to do the job up until that point.
Well, it's Snute, so it doesn't have too many Hydras at the moment. It definitely has a very heavy Roach army, but that goes well underneath the Broodlords also. Just a lot of beef there. The Broodlords can deal with those siege tanks pretty darn well. So I'm liking that there hasn't been a lot of damage on either side. There was a little bit of harassment there by Dayshi, but Snute has blocked everything well enough. He's got great creep spread. He's up to his 4 bases, getting that hive tech. And I feel like we're going to have a long, epic game here, Maynard.
I agree. So we are going to see that late game that a lot of guys would have expected to see. A couple pickoffs here for Snute. He's gotten rid of the Viking and the 2 Banshees that were sharking around the map. So that's nice. He doesn't have to worry about that harassment anymore. And there's that great Aspire, as we kind of predicted here with the Vipers going up. Snute pushing for that late game. He's forced it, and Dayshi will be more than happy to meet him there.
Yeah, a couple more starports on the way, some Vikings coming out as well, so he's really preparing for those Broodlords. Also, of course, the Vipers can be zoned out a bit with that. Quite a few siege tanks with a good spread, but
that's a kill.
Yeah, look at that. Pretty nice, I would say. Doesn't really need those roaches as much anymore. Look at this, 7 spines on the way. That's cool, man. I like to see moves like this where you're putting down a lot of extra static D, because the game gets big. Yeah, look at that. This is perfect, because as this game gets big and he gets a Broodlord-based army, that's a death ball. You have to keep your units mostly together underneath the Broodlords. So if he just keeps those units together, suddenly Blue Flame Hellions are going to run up and roast every drone you have. So Snute, he's like, well, I'll spend 7 drones, right? Make these spines. Make that be a punish if he tries to do that harassment.
And Dayshi's making some adjustments here. He's playing the player and not the matchup right now. He's putting a lot of starports down to get a big Viking cluster to deal with Broodlords. But speaking of the Viking cluster, he's taking a bit of damage on those Vikings here, but is starting to leapfrog those siege tanks and push on the edge of that creep. Snute needs to take this very seriously.
Yeah, he's making an arc. He's pulling back, trying to hit before tanks siege up, but Dayshi, look at the leapfrogging going on here. Sieging a few tanks, moving a few tanks forward, bringing them up from behind. Now, Oh, actually using Parasitic Bomb there. A little bit surprised to see that. Oh, it's because the Broodlords are morphing. So Dayshi pushing in right now. He doesn't have much anti-air to deal with these Broodlords.
You're quite right. In fact, a couple of the Vikings are going down. He only has 3 of them. Luckily for Dayshi, Snute doesn't have any air upgrades on these Broodlords just yet, so they are a little squishy, but not for long here. The Vikings are starting to work on the Broodlords, but even Queen's on the low ground, picking up the low hit point Vikings, and the tanks have to unsiege and get out of here.
The Broodlord's doing a fantastic job. Dayshi has to turn tail and run, being chased down as well as he gets out of here. A hot pickup there on some of his siege tanks. Oh my God.
Clouds.
Beautiful blinding clouds here, and he's going to clean up so many siege tanks. Just, I mean, a clinic on ZVT against mech here by Snute.
Snute is so damn good. There's that Carapace on the way for the flying units as he pushes on his planetary. Doesn't want to overextend too much here. Loses a few of his units, but certainly Snute taking a great fight there. And now the Broodlords are here, and he's going to try and slow push this and further his advantage.
Okay, there are a few Vikings out here. The anti-air consists mostly of these Hydras, so the Vikings can definitely push everything back. A few Queens coming up.
I think he's starting to overextend here. These Broodlords are starting to go down to these Vikings. The Vipers aren't here to parasitic bomb these Vikings either. A couple Queens are nice, but the Vikings just start to step back to the tank line, and they're going to be fine.
Oh, nice transfuse there as well, keeping alive the Overseer. Snute backing back up, getting onto his creep. Look at that creep spread. Look at the mini-map in the bottom left. This is crazy. I don't know how he finds time to do such things.
Oh man, as a Terran player myself, I'm trying to choke back my vomit and cast this game, but that is so much creep spread here on Blackpink. He has the map in his back pocket, and it's up to Dayshi to try and break through with a big death ball of mech. He does have 3-3 on the way here, but it's a little way off. +3 attack, though, about to finish, and that's going to be some powerful tanks.
Oh my God. I mean, we have all the different tech on the way right now.
Oh! Dayshi moving out here.
Yeah, a little bit surprised to see that. He has a good amount of Vikings, so trying to get on top of everything before all of these crawlers finish. A lot of spores and spines on the way, but being forced back a little bit once again.
Yeah, so when the crop is getting picked off here, there's a potential Broodlords getting removed here for Snute. Dayshi still with a fair bit of army left over here, and even the Hellbats are actually starting to mince away these Broodlings and keep the tanks alive, which is their job basically, to be the linebackers for the tank line.
That Fusion Core going to be finishing up. We have seen a little bit of battle cruisers lately.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, of course, this could be to get some Liberator range as well. Dayshi did finish Namshar with a lot of Liberators.
Yeah,
but this is a mostly like air-based army as far as strength goes for Snute.
That is quite true, and you can see he's banking on those air upgrades as well, just starting +1 attack as I say that. He already has Carapace, +2 Carapace on the way, double Spire for Snute, so he really wants a Corruptor and Broodlord Death Ball here with the Hydras on the low ground to pick off those mech units. Parasitic Bomb dropped on those Vikings. Instant split there from Dayshi, though, to get those hurt Vikings out of there.
Yeah, one of them goes back towards the swarm of Vikings. He's got to be very careful about that. He needs to eliminate these Broodlords before they kill all the siege tanks.
And there goes 2 of them.
Yeah, the Queens underneath doing a great job trying to zone these back. Also can use their transfusions.
I think they're actually quite low in energy, though, when I just saw the edge of those Queens there. Yeah, they are. So not a ton of transfusions available, but there are certainly some. The Vipers are going to be very critical here for Snute with this push. They are meant to Blinding Cloud and Abduct as per needed. Dayshi feeling so confident here with his army, he's starting to move towards this Spore Crawler forest.
Yeah, just kind of attack moving forward right now, not sieging up. Maybe a little bit afraid of his own splash damage here. The Vikings coming in from the side.
I think this engagement's going pretty well for Dayshi so far. Still so many of the Vikings are left alive. Every volley one-shotting a Broodlord here.
Oh, wow, this is really well done by Dayshi. It felt so many times this game like Snute is winning. And I mean, you look at the map, it's no longer black-pink, it's purple-blue, but still, Dayshi has a huge amount of workers. His army is maxed out almost consistently throughout the game. Great upgrades, great composition. Just fantastic play out of our French Terran.
And he's continuing to get upgrades as well. He's just backering beautifully. He still has, he's approaching maxed here and still with a bit of a bank, but look at Snute's bank. It's not what you would expect to see Snute at this point of his ZVT. He would normally be on 2k minerals, 1.5k gas or something like that. And there's that Hellion run by here with the Blue Flame, something that Namshar struggled against, but Snute doing a pretty good job at cleaning this up so far.
As you say that, more and more drones die there in the natural. Still finding a little bit of damage here, but the Broodlord's going to go ahead and hit this planetary. He definitely wants to save this.
And there's a potential juicy parasitic bomb here for that Viper. The tanks are just coming up here. They're not even siege mode. They're just DPSing down these Broodlings. There's that parasitic bomb, but instant splits again from Dayshi to keep these Vikings alive.
Wow, really swift micro from Dayshi coming out here with those Vikings. what flexible play, and I love how he's not even sieging up. He knows the power of his fully upgraded mech here, pushing forward, attacking. I mean, I'm getting chills, man. Dayshi is really bringing it here, but you cannot count out Snute. Again, look at this map. It's wild.
Yeah, it's not over yet. That's certainly true. The Queens with a bit more transfusions on them, but they are starting to be in tank range here. Dayshi leaving a lot of his tanks unsieged. Saying only like 20% of them are sieged up at the moment. Liberator's starting to join in. Another parasitic bomb. Dayshi once again with nice micro on his Vikings to keep them back. Hydras are actually catching some of these Vikings. Oh no! Dayshi losing a few of these very crucial air units. Still so many Broodlords alive for Snute, and he's pressing the issue.
Yeah, the Broodlords are really starting to clean up right now. Vikings coming back, pushing them back. They dance back and forth. The Hydras have to hit these Vikings, but the siege tanks murder them. This is getting wild. Refilling the energy on these Vipers. He definitely needs them a bit more. Those parasitic bombs are so clutch.
Absolutely. The Vikings are something that's going to be the death nail for Snute's army, as he did invest so heavily in air. Look at him. He's just continuing to make Corruptors and Broodlords. Nothing else except for Queens. He's getting +3 as well to help out those Broodlings to make them a little bit more damage. But just the Vikings getting replenished over and over here for Dayshi as +2 finishes for them. That's too many spine crawlers, mate.
Yeah.
this run by is not happening.
Well, that's what we were kind of talking about before. Dayshi is trying to find a way in, get some extra damage done. Nope, he invested in those spines earlier, and they are doing their job.
Dayshi starting to throw in Ghosts as well. The ultimate late game unit composition with Liberator and Ghost. Those +3 Liberators with those Vikings to help them out are going to destroy everything on the ground. And those Ghosts are going to take they're going to basically like high five, slap those Vikings and take their job and go, I got this from here. Going to snipe those Broodlords from the sky.
I'm interested though, because he's making Ghosts out of one barracks. So
maybe Nuke.
It could be Nuke, and I think also there's a possibility we could see him try to EMP these Vipers a little bit. Like, I don't know, we'll see. Like, one snipe isn't very good, but I mean, over time, this game definitely can go on for another 20 minutes at this rate. You know, he will build up a decent Ghost count.
Absolutely, seems to be happy with these air units at the moment. His composition, Broodlord certainly hugely in number here for Snute. That is a scary army. It took my breath away for a second there. We got the creep tumor push here. Oh, nice catch getting rid of one of those Liberators. Very lucky there for Snute, unlucky for Dayshi. Dayshi lifts that CC, doesn't even want to tussle here without his army being in position.
Yeah, the Broodlord's coming forward, though. This Planetary will not be long for this world if he doesn't get there to defend it. The Siege Tanks going forward. Great blinding clouds going down. Very interesting choice there by Snute. He goes forward. The parasitic bombs. The Vikings.
The Vipers are dying to the Vikings as well. So that's it for the parasitic bombs and for the blinding clouds right now. But Snute is starting to push Dayshi back. A lot of these tanks are not sieged. Liberators are coming forward to drop their liberation zones on the ground here. The Broodlords are coming forward, but the tanks are still, the Vikings are still alive. And remember, no more parasitic bombs. Can Snute break through?
There's so many Broodlings here, it's really hard for the Siege Tanks to actually clear anything. Snute pushing forward here, might be able to get the victory. Dayshi's supply is absolutely plummeting. What fantastic play coming out of Snute.
Absolutely. The Vikings getting thinned out as well. Dayshi's army supply took a massive hit there. And this Liberator actually taking a ton of damage from that Spore Crawler before it gets any further into the Zerg infrastructure. The Queen going to do the rest. And Dayshi on the back foot, he has to replenish his army and keep the CC alive, but with his Broodlings, that is not happening.
No, this is getting very tough. Losing this base in the bottom right before it's mined out. He's trying to float a command center up towards the top left, but there's too much creep. He can't even land it there. Here we have a command center that's like in the most hilarious spot up on the high ground. No creep there yet, so he does drop off his mules, but he's not even maxed out anymore.
And Dayshi actually messing around with his composition a little bit, realizing that maybe he needs a few more Hellbats to deal with those Broodlings a little bit. You know, have that buffer between the tank line and the Hellbats. Still continuing to produce Ghosts one at a time here, and really prioritizing Viking production. He's very, very afraid of that air army. He should be too.
Well, that air army is about to have +3 carapace, so I mean that's that's about as sturdy as you can really get. Of course, he does have his +3 for his Vikings as well, but like, Snute's dancing has been out of control. The Viper play, the moving back and forth with Queens and Hydras. Dayshi's just having a hard time, especially with how high the Broodlord count is.
+3 Vikings landed here being annoying. And even EMPing these Queens. He's sick of these transfusions, sick of these Queens being useful all game long. And Dayshi just desperately trying to hold on to his little base here, but he doesn't have any units up, or not many units up, to deal with the top here. Yes, he can deal with the Broodlords of these Vikings, which are actually all by themselves here. A couple of them go down, but
Well, parasitic bombs coming out. 2 of them on those Vikings. They have to be pulled off, get picked off in a matter of seconds. But hey, these Vikings getting a lot of value right now.
Yeah, the Hydras look very scary for Dayshi, but it gives him time to get his army into position to deal with the Hydras, and he killed like 3 or 4 Broodlords there. It's very nice.
Absolutely. They're going to share this space.
Howdy, neighbor.
Yeah. It's like, listen, we both need more minerals to keep this crazy macro game going. Let's just, we'll both mine. It's fine.
This is for the fans.
Yeah.
All right, so this push here from Dayshi. Now he's got a lot of energy on these ghosts, even sniping some of these Hydralisks down. I don't mind that, actually. You know, you don't expect snipes with this low of a ghost count, but they are doing work. That's free damage there for spell usage, so that's what you want to do in the late game. Oh, did he not get +1 air weapons? I thought he researched that a little bit ago. He must have canceled it.
3 Hydras ruining the little party that we have down here. Dayshi going to have to fly this away. It is going to be killed off pretty easily by those Hydras.
Yeah.
But Dayshi has expanded towards the top here once again. So still trying to stay in it, but Snute is starting to grow his bank.
Yeah, he's starting to spiral out of control here. That bank situation has switched on its head. Oh, a couple of Vipers dying to these ghosts here. Some snipes going down the Queens, but I don't know about that. I think the juicier target's definitely the Broodlords and the Vipers, of course. Oh, this run by, even with 3 Spine Crawlers, is going to get a lot of drone damage.
Wow, Dayshi. I mean, when he fell down to like 130 supply and had no bank, I thought the game was going to end, to be honest. I wasn't going to be like, oh, the game's over, but it really felt like it at that point. And look at Dayshi. Well, I guess he is still at 130, but is he not fighting back valiantly with what he has?
Well, the thing we're looking at here is the army supply, right? And the composition here for Dayshi. I've seen mech players be 40 army supply down on the late game Zerg and still win. Yeah. I've seen Special do it in WCS even. And Dayshi...
Did he do it against Snute, though?
It may have actually been.
Wow. Yeah, I guess they actually play all the time.
They play quite a bit in WCS.
And they might be playing next if Snute can take this one down.
Very true. So Dayshi's got some SCVs here just repairing up. The Vipers are joining in the field again. This one very low in energy. You're going to have to find something to suck that juice out of and get tanked up, ready to engage. Dayshi, actually, I love that he's starting to make turrets now as well. Just lock down his position and make it tough for Snute to float those Broodlords over and have a big engagement. Yeah, purple-blue, the map name.
Purple-blue, man.
Still in control here.
I hope they play Neon Violet Square next so that it can actually be a blue-violet circle, because creep tumors are circles.
That's a stretch there, Artosis, but I'll let you have it. We got a little bit of a Hellion run by here. Not a whole lot to see here for Snute as far as defenses go. The Spine Crawler's not quite done. Some of these drones getting caught on the rally over.
Dude, I love that he's setting up these fringe bases, and he's just like, no, we're gonna get a lot of spines at him. He doesn't want to have to deal with this. And again, it's so brilliant. This is why he's so good at the late game, or part of it at least, because he knows he's playing with death ball type compositions. He can't be sending units over every time Hellions show up.
Remember when Dayshi was 60, 70 supply down, Artosis?
Yeah.
Well, he's killing a ton of drones, and in fact, he's catching Hydralisks with the Hellions as well, which we saw a little bit ago. Still killing more and more drones and throwing away minerals. That does kind of suck for Dayshi, to be honest, because he doesn't have much of a bank, but it is really about these high gas units for the mech player in the end.
Oh, and he's landed another command center in the top left. So many mules coming down, trying to suck up those resources as quickly as possible. But a mass changeling attack comes in.
He's like, wait, 10 Marines?
They'll clog the minerals. He's like, I'm not going bio. What's going on? I forgot combat shields?
Oh, EMP there on that Infesta is quite nice.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that's important, too, right? Like, if a Fungal gets off on these Vikings, the game ends immediately.
Well, the Fungals also exist to interrupt the Ghost Snipe, which is another thing you have to take very seriously when there's a big number of Ghosts.
Oh, those 3 Hydras are back for another command center.
The 3-brother hit squad there for those Hydras. They've killed 1 CC. They're ready for a second one.
3 Hydra tears.
It's actually doing a ton of damage here for Dayshi. He needs to actually deal with this.
Even just the lost mining time on these mules is pretty wild.
All right, he will get rid of them, so they pay for it in blood. Broodlord's finding an opening here, but again, the Vikings just always here for Dayshi. Oh, man, Dayshi pushing with turrets, and the Spore Crawler's doing a lot of damage on the Vikings as well.
Yeah, and you see those infestors crawling up towards the front, looking for those juicy, juicy Fungals.
Absolutely.
More Hydras kind of poking up, but he does have good defense up there. I mean, there is so much tension in this part of the map that you could cut it with a knife. At any moment, this game could swing one way or the other. Now, Snute has an okay bank, but it's not gas-based. So even if, if he loses his army, yeah, he has minerals, but what does he do? He makes Zerglings. What do you do with those Zerglings? Yeah. Are you going to kill 2 Blue Flame Hellbats and then lose them all?
He doesn't have an Adrenal, so it'd be a bunch of 3/3 links.
Oh, God.
All right, so this army for Snute, really both players cannot lose their army anymore. Dayshi doesn't have any kind of bank really to speak of, and Snute, without the gas bank, will only be able to remax on things that aren't very useful. The Hellions coming in again, killing more drones. Just a couple, though. Too many spine crawlers at this
It's hard. It's hard. That's a lot of spines. He's got to send one siege tank with him. That's the thing. Really annoys Snute at that point. He's going to have to leave a Broodlord over there. That's where the meta starts in. Then it's like a 1 Viking, 1 tank, 2 Hellion hit squad.
Snute's actually going to about to run out of map to creep here in a minute. Like, he's got so many active creep trimmers still that it just shows how great his multitask is. You know, trying to dance with a Terran while continuing to spread creep. These 3 ghosts actually could kill this, but they're just taking a smoke break, and that's okay. Everyone needs to relax from time to time. It hasn't been a long game.
Well, some more snipes coming down. He will start to clear that. Nice little volley there from the Broodlords, trying to get some damage in, but he's got to be careful. Again, he can't really replace too many. His gas bank right now at 500, still adding in Broods, Hydras, you know, anything he can as he gains that gas. God, it's just, this game is so wild.
We're almost at 30 minutes here for game number 1. Artosis, remember, this is actually game 1, guys. Oh, that's so many Vikings. The parasitic bomb's going down. And Dayshi's been very good at splitting his Vikings, except for right now. That's a little bit of a tough split here, especially with the bungles. The Viper's going in for more parasitic bombs than these Vikings, and they're getting a ton of damage done.
Oh my God, the Vikings getting cleaned up so hard right now. Some great fungals coming out. Unlimited broodlings as well. Even the ghosts getting surrounded and killed off here. But still, Vikings remain, starting to pick off quite a few of these. The Queen's a little bit lazy, finally coming forward and throwing down those transfusions.
And they're starting to get up into this fight now. There's a lovely fungal, and these Vikings are actually so low in hit points, Artosis. This might be it for Dayshi. He's fought so valiantly, but Snute is pushing forward. He's losing tons of drones back at home. Can Dayshi hold on and live here? Snute doesn't have much of an economy to go back to. He does, however, have a ton of Zerg army.
Oh my God, he spends his entire bank. Dayshi's supply has plummeted. Not that much left for Snute, but at least he's got some bases, right? Well, does he? Does he really?
Does he?
26 drones going down there. So both of their economies being shattered, but the standing army of Snute is far scarier than this little podunk army of Dayshi.
It does certainly feel like Snute's got this in the bag at this point. The Broodlords are all still alive, and the SCVs, whatever remains of Dayshi's army is going down. It's going to recall them. Yeah, maybe in a future patch.
Wait, do those SCVs just have to die? There's no way to get them out?
Yes.
Oh!
What a horrible way to go. Watching your brothers die in front of you as the Broodlords get closer and closer to you.
Like, raise my little white flag. I'll become a Zerg. It's fine.
Infest me, please. Well, that's gonna be tough now for Dayshi to get this job done. He is down quite a bit in every single regard at this point. No income at the moment for Dayshi at all, actually. So he's just sitting here with 26 minerals in the bank, 74 gas in the bank, and a dream. But I think that dream is a nightmare. There's just too much Zerg here.
Well, he's clearing anything that he can at the moment, but like, okay, so 7 Vikings. Can 7 Vikings beat 14 Queens? Like 2 Vipers, 3 Infestors, 6 Corruptors. Because if they can, 9 Hydras. Because if they can kill the Broodlords.
Well, here come as many Corruptors as there are Vikings, and they just go down. Like honestly, the Hydras and the Infestors can take a rest here. And let the Corruptors do the whole job for Dayshi. Oh, he cannot lose anything, Dayshi, right now, and he does get caught here by Snute's Hydra army, losing a couple of those Hellions. Well, this Liberator finding a juicy spot, but honestly, like, killing drones is nice, but if Snute decides to attack at any point, that's what I'm really worried about here for Dayshi.
Well, you know, I think Snute is going to attack. He has to know at this point that there's nothing really left for Dayshi.
That is a cash money Liberator right there. But Snute, he spirals out of control, gets that game, GG. Writing was on the roll there about 5 minutes before Dayshi tapped out. But what a showing from Dayshi. I actually think this could be a tied series, maybe not even a Snute victory in the end.
I don't even know. Like, Snute won that game, and it was one of the better late game ZVTs I've ever seen him play it amongst many late game ZVTs. It was like a beautiful thing of art, but like the fact that it felt like Snute was ahead early on and Dayshi still fought back to that degree. If anything goes wrong for Snute before that Supreme late game, it's hard to imagine Dayshi not taking it.
Oh, man, imagine if Dayshi didn't lose that 60-70 army supply. If he took a bit good engagement in the middle map, he just wouldn't have fallen behind at all.
No.
He was down 130 versus a maxed out Zerg, and then managed to get maxed out all over again.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while, but he really persevered. He really knows how to fight in these battles. And like that one battle that Snute really started to take the lead with, where there was like literally just too many broodlings. His tanks, you know, out of siege mode were having a hard time, and the Hydras were dealing this extra damage. It was a tough situation, but that's a very tough one to get into, to get up to that many Broodlords in this way. Now, Dayshi, I think he can look at this game and maybe fix a couple things. Let's not forget the big attack he did towards that 4th base, where the Broodlords finished and just made him turn around and run. That was a tough moment for Dayshi, because he only had 4 Vikings. If he was a bit more ready, what if he could have done a bit more damage there?
Yeah, I mean, you brought it up and you nailed it, Artosis. That game could have gone either way with the turn of a tide there. And we are going to go into map 2 to see if Dayshi can spin this one around and tie it up, or if Snute continues and shows everyone that he is still one of the greatest foreigners of all time, and still incredible at late game ZVT.
All right, here we go, man. Our Catalyst, okay.
All right. And the top left here, the French Terran from on the team. This is Dayshi. And in the bottom right from Team Liquid, the Norwegian Zerg. Currently on match point, this is Snute. I've been a fan of this guy for so long.
Yeah.
And watching this series just makes me feel like being magically whisked away to 2011, but in 1080p, 60 frames per second here. And I am Katowice 3
FPS?
Yeah, 1080p, 60 FPS.
Wow.
It's as quality gets for Twitch, babe.
It truly is. Well, I tell you, yeah, Snute. Who hasn't been a fan of Snute for like 100,000 years? This guy, you know, it's really kind of interesting, right? Because we have so many great non-Korean players right now. But there was a long era where he was basically the only one competing on Korean level.
Yeah.
Like other guys would pop up and have a great series or something, but like, you know, there were years where it was like, okay, so like BlizzCon this year is probably going to be like Snute and Koreans, like 15 Koreans, right? And like at tournaments he would beat 3-4 Koreans and everyone else just dies. So, I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, okay, he hasn't like won WCS here. Sometimes he'll lose to these other non-Korean players, but he's kind of maintained that level where, like, if Snute gets top 4 here in Katowice, we're not surprised, you know?
Not at all.
He's been at this level forever.
Absolutely. And I mean, with the caliber of these brackets, it could easily be that he's not in the top 4 as well. Like, there's so many people that wouldn't be surprising to be up there.
This is the loser bracket, which makes it brutal, right? Like, Zest and Hero Marine get out. Zest is not a hard one to predict, but Hero Marine, that nice little surprise, very strong player. But the winner of this plays special. And then on the other side, we got, like, what is it, like Lambo and Kelliger still fighting it out or something like that?
I think Lambo ended up going down in the end there.
Okay, so it's like Kelliger special and one of these two. That's like the people fighting right now for that 3rd spot. Or Bunny is probably over there as well still. So, I mean, it's wild. We don't even have any idea who's getting out of here.
Looks like another engineering bay block for Dayshi being lined up for that 3rd base of Snute. Once again, Zerg players want to be on this edge of the map. They don't want to be in a triangle. And even especially on Catalyst.
Yes.
Because there's a long rush distance to that front 3rd. And again, it's on the low ground with a potential high ground to push here for a Terran.
Man, yeah, this map especially, because like you always see Zergs kind of struggle, like, oh, where do I take my 4th here? A lot of times it's in that like way far away corner, or it's in that one that's right down the hill, as you said. So I especially like the eBay block on this map.
I'm actually stealing that. That seems so sick. It seems really, really smart, honestly, against Zerg.
Yeah, well, on Catalyst especially, like some of these maps, you really want your 3rd where you want your 3rd.
Yeah. Well, we saw Dayshi play an incredible mech game against Namshar. It was the deciding map, actually, for Dayshi Namshar here in Catalyst. And for some reason, I bring this up whenever I cast game in Catalyst, even though the map doesn't seem that attractive or special and there's nothing really, like, you know, glaringly amazing feature-wise about the map, I just seem to have always incredible games in this map. And not saying that I play incredibly, it's just that the games are really fun and dynamic and cool. This map just seems to, for some reason, create those kinds of games.
I tend to agree with you on that. Like, Catalyst does give us a lot of good games. You know, it's not like one of these super big maps where it just kind of is like, okay, well, I guess we're not attacking each other. We're just both going to have a bunch of bases. There's definitely like a lot of different attack paths, but it's not like, it's not a biogenesis where, like, you know, when you're making your wall and you can see your opponent's command center.
There's a small little mistake there for Dayshi. You know, he didn't finish the engineering bay on purpose because he wanted to be able to cancel that when Snute tried to clear it out. Didn't get the cancel in the end, though. So that was a kill on that engineering bay for Snute. Small little edge there, but of course doesn't. It's not critical.
Yeah.
These Lings, though, could get a couple SCVs. Dayshi is not at home. Oh, wait, never mind.
Oh.
Hello.
Dude, this build, I know this build. This is a really cool one that we're seeing, actually. He's making Marauders. I believe he's supposed to get concussive shells with this, isn't he? I saw a build like this yesterday where it was like Hellbats and one concussive shell Marauder, and it was just like chasing down queens and killing them. It was like really awesome, but...
Dayshi did this in Game 1 against Namchar and Blackpink, actually.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah. So he actually... And also, don't forget that the Medevac will heal the Healbats as well. The Hellbats as well.
The Healbats.
The Healbats. That's what
well,
they
that's
are
what
with
they
Medevac.
become, right?
Exactly, right. So the armory is on the way, although I think it's a little bit late, though.
Yeah, it feels late, and I don't believe concussive shells was... Did he get it?
No, he didn't. But the Marauders do still do that damage against the Queens, and they have that ability to kill these Queens, though. Here come the Marauders with the Medevac, and again, with the armory not done, the Medevac cannot heal these Hellions yet, and that is so many Queens for Snute.
Yeah, that's a snootish number of Marines right there. I mean, Queens right there for sure.
See, Dayshi actually can't repair this command center until it's finished.
Ooh.
This is very annoying. These Hellions need to come out and deal with this.
Yeah, seriously. Well, these Hellions are up front, and he can't go up a little ramp like that. There's already some roaches out there as well. Like, I like what he was going for, but I think he maybe did forget the armory.
Ooh. Snute's making 7 Ravages now, Artosis. I don't think this is to be defensive and stay at home. I think Snute smells blood in the water here, and he's going to try and bust through this ramp of Dayshi.
Oh my god, I think you're right about that. Now this is actually getting a decent amount of damage, this Liberator here.
Absolutely.
And also some Hellion drops going down, but this counterattack, this is something that we saw previously from Snute, and I believe it was actually on this map. Pig was pointing out that, like, you see this many Queens, you don't expect an attack like this coming in for sure.
Dayshi's actually in a lot of trouble, Artosis. Yes, these Hellions are doing tons of damage to Snute, but how does he stop these Ravages without tanks? He's starting to make more Marauders back at home. He's trying to produce factories now and get his production up, and Snute's hitting at a brilliant time here. The Hellions are coming out to try and fight this. SCVs are off the line. Ravages with Lings on the river, though. They can tear them apart, and Snute's starting to barrel in.
Oh man, Snute really looks like he should be able to take this despite losing all those drones. He is fine. This attack doing a fantastic job. He killed the 3rd Command Center. He's killed a bunch of the SCVs, and there's almost nothing left.
And the Liberator gets dealt with. So many Queens here for Snute. The CC dies as well. And that was the only potential Dayshi had to stay alive in this game. He is down to 1 base. He's lost his supply depots. He's blocked. He drops 2 depots here, but there's still supply blocked. He doesn't have enough to continue to produce units. He's going to have 1 tank and 1 Banshee coming out here. But how does he stop this many Zerg units?
Well, I think the answer is he does not, Maynard. Doing his best, roasting a bunch of these Lings, but the Ravagers putting out so much damage with no command centers left. Even if he were to hold this, he'd have to kill Snute with what he has, which is looking quite unlikely.
Yeah, Snute is up 50 workers at this point. Yes, he lost a lot of drones, but he has way more workers than Dayshi does. The Banshee will eventually clear up these Ravages, but honestly, what prayer does Dayshi have to come back in this game at this point?
7 workers, none. GG. Good luck. Snute is victorious. I tell you what, though, that game 1, Dayshi showing so much strength that people better watch out for him at the next WCS.
Absolutely. I could see him qualifying and also getting deep, dude. Top 8 easily peasily. If he can play that well against Namchar and play that well against Snute, I mean, game 2 wasn't really an indication of, like, you know, his level of play. Like, that looks really, really one-sided.
Yeah.
But that was the kind of build where one player is just going to die or win.
Yeah.
When you go for something like that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one as well. It seems like macro from Snute, and then he attacks you. But
yeah.
What can we say? We're going to jump to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll hear from the man himself.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2018. We just saw a very intense TVT with Snute coming out on top over Dayshi. So, first of all, congratulations, Snute. With this win, you're increasing your win streak over Dayshi to 9 wins in a row. I'm wondering if you were aware of this. Yeah, I know Dayshi's chuckling behind us, but that is the actual statistic. Were you aware of that?
I didn't know it was that bad, but I played him a few times on ladder, and I actually lost those. So he also played a little bit different from the mech turn style that I'm used to. Like, I was very surprised about how difficult it was to attack on Blackpink. So yeah, not sure.
Well, you just said that you lost him on ladder, so what was, I guess, the lessons that you learned from those games that clearly helped you coming into today's games?
I expected that he would play mech, but I guess what I learned was to be very careful and get to Broodlords as quickly as possible. Because every time I tried to beat him without Broodlords, it never went well for me. And I think it's kind of like that against mech. But it's a little bit tricky to survive until that stage, and when you do reach that stage, control is very difficult, and you need to protect your expansions. So it's also very, it's very... You have to play for so long. The games just drag on, so it's very exhausting also.
Well, it was definitely impressive for us watching, and with this win over Dayshi, you have yet another Terran. It looks like you have a lot of Terrans to beat in this open bracket. It's Special, and the last time you played Special was at Leipzig, where he beat you in a very close series 3-2 in the quarterfinals. So now with this rematch, what are your thoughts on him?
I think it's going to be very difficult. He seems to be playing very well this event, and the last one also. So I feel like my skill level hasn't really changed that much since Leipzig, so I'm going to have to play do as well as I can, and hopefully it's going to work out a little bit better this time.
All right, well, congratulations again, Snute. Best of luck in that next match. It is Special versus Snute coming up. Let's head back to Claris.
That's right, thank you, Smix. And as Rotterdam mentioned on the desk here before, it's Jens doesn't give a damn about your tournament schedule, Asgard. Able to move through this round, and he will be playing against Special next. Gentlemen, though, as much as Snute, was able to get the win there and impressed, I think Dayshi has really impressed us these past couple of series.
If he plays like this at the next WCS stop, I agree with the boys that were casting. He can absolutely get top 8. That first game, just freaking awesome, man. That's what Starcraft is all about. There were multiple moments where I really thought it was over, but he kept hanging in there. I think there was one very cute moment we had here off desk, where you kind of think that the game is over. You see a couple parasitic bombs, and within the blink of an eye, he pulls back the right Viking. Not once, not twice, but like 3 times in a row. And I'm looking at James, and James looks at me. He's like, that was really fast. I was like, how did he even see which Viking it was? No, Dayshi played so good. I'm blown away. And of course, I mean, Snute is Snute. We know how good he is. But damn, what a run by Dayshi. First taking out Namchar, and Snute said it as well. I think the big difference between someone like Snute and Namchar is that Namchar did try to beat him with Hydras and Vipers, while Snute is somebody who loves to get those Ultra units out, whether it's Broodlords or Ultralisk. And obviously, I think there are very few Zergs in the world. Perhaps he's even the best when it comes to controlling those really complex Zerg armies. When you have Infestors, Vipers, Queens, and then slow units like Broodlords, that is so freaking difficult. You need so many hotkeys for it. Snute really excelling with what he does best. But damn, I loved that first game. That was awesome.
It was great. Let's check in with the bracket, and I can talk to you guys about how these games are playing out so far as well. Zest and Hero Marine have qualified for the round of 24 in the upper. Now we have Special versus Snute, and the winner of that will play against Bunny. Pig, Tasteless, what do you think about that series? What do you think about us coming up? Start with you, Tasteless.
With Special and Snute, I'm very excited. I think Special, I have a special, no pun intended. I actually didn't mean to make a pun out of that. I have a little bit of a connection with Special because I've known him since he was a really, really little kid. I feel like I've seen him grow and develop, and I think anybody who's followed Starcraft 2 also has a connection with his opponent. But at the same time, I really feel like he's lining up to be the best that he actually can be at this tournament. So I'm looking forward to that. I am secretly, I guess not secretly anymore, rooting for him with my special connection.
Shh, don't tell anyone. Pig, how about you?
You know, it's going to be an exciting match coming up. Of course, on the other side, we did have Kelazur fall 0-2 to Bunny.
That's a good point.
We could even hop into game very quickly just to watch the very last little bit here. I've got a replay open. It was essentially Bunny having some solid mech play and Kelazur not quite able to actually take him out. He was just kind of falling behind to the Cyclone openings. You know, the pressure from Bunny was good. He was getting ahead. It was kind of like anticlimactic finishes where there just was not enough stuff in these final engagements for Kelazur. Both games, it was a similar story. There's just too many tanks, Hellions, Cyclones. Kelazur just kind of got ran over. The openings for Bunny a little bit too powerful.
Unfortunate then, I guess, for Kelazur, unable to make it through to the round of 24. But that's the thing about this tournament. You know, you get these guys in the WCS circuit able to propel themselves forwards into the last brackets each time. But this tournament is stacked on a truly global level here, and Kelazur does not make it through. Thank you very much, gentlemen, as we continue things here for the Intel Extreme Masters day number 2. We're going to go to a short break. We have 2 more series here for bracket number 3 to find out who's going to move on to the round of 24.
All eyes are on